Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's Fatmata here from Traditionally Inspired Meaningful Art. So happy that you decided to join. Today I wanted to share with you some spring sewing plans that I have, mainly because I just ironed all of these pieces of fabric and I was so desperately looking forward to starting to cut some of them out. I'm currently on spring break. I spent the morning at my kids' school for the book fair, so I got to volunteer there. I'm going to have to pick them up in a little bit. So I spent a bit of time ironing, just prepping the fabric. But before I cut anything out, I thought to myself, I want to tell you all what I'm hoping to get into this spring. As you can see, there's a lot of color. You see the color? You feeling it? Let me tell you what the plans are for this. But everything else is super colorful and it's giving me so much life at this moment. There are a couple of things that are going to be happening in April. So the first thing is I'm going to a conference for work. Honestly, I don't know that any of these plans are necessarily tied to that conference. If I make something before it, I'd be very happy to get to debut it at the conference, but none of these makes or are for the conference, if that makes sense. Secondly, I am taking my kiddos to Great Wolf Lodge, and that is like an indoor water park situation. We're gonna be there, I think, for 3 days, 2 nights. It's gonna be sort of our Eid celebration a little bit after. And then third, I have a family trip. My siblings and I are gonna take our parents to Vegas. Again, I have clothes that I can wear there. None of these are necessarily for that trip, but you know, if I make anything, I'm wearing it. I'm wearing it to the trip. Okay. In May is my eldest son's birthday, and he's going to be turning 7. And then in June is my daughter's birthday, who's going to be turning 6. So, is that spring? Sure. Really, I wanted to get all of this stuff done in April, but I had to hold my horses. I had to cut it out, okay? So I'm just gonna say spring, but really what my heart wants to say is in April, by the end of April. Okay. I have a stack of patterns. I have additional fabrics in addition to what you can see behind me, so let's kick things off. I'm gonna go ahead and kick things off with Simplicity 9260. I picked up this pattern a while ago. I love the design lines on here. So as you can see, it's a princess seamed. There is no waistline seam. It sort of flares out at the bottom. Here are those design lines. I just think it's wonderful. I'm going to extend the length of view A, and I don't think that the sleeves of view B are long enough for my liking, so I'm probably going to borrow sleeves from something else because I want it to be long sleeve. I love this dress because it reminds me of the Shelby dress from True Bias, the Shelby dress. But I love that silhouette. I wanted to select a fabric that wouldn't be so obvious in terms of, so either something that was a solid color, but then that felt a little bit too safe and not that much fun. And I have a lot of printed fabric that I'm ready to start sewing. So then I turned my attention to this. Let me bring it. I like how abstract it is in that it's not necessarily directional. The pattern doesn't repeat too obviously, and I wouldn't feel like a pattern was being interrupted with all of those curved lines of this. I have 3 meters of this fabric, and I picked this up in Paris when I went fabric shopping out there about 2 years ago. So I'm so excited to get to use it. So that's my pick for Simplicity S9260. I'm so thrilled to get this sewn up. All right, next we have a vintage pattern. This is Butterick 3908. I love this dress. I love that collar. I like that the way the pattern pieces are cut out will definitely teach me a thing or two. As you can see here, the way that they ask you to cut out the sleeve is quite interesting. It's different than anything I've done before. And I've seen sort of the bodice front construction with the facing that's sort of built into the top. I'm very excited about it. I think I'm gonna go for the collared version instead of the pussy bow blouse version, but I could be swayed. I could be swayed. This is definitely a short dress. I would want to lengthen it quite significantly. So it's just gonna depend if the fabric is going to carry. Now, I thought long and hard about what fabric I want to do this in. I could have gone plain. I'm not in a plain era right now. I'm all about the print. So I picked out yet another Paris fabric. Come here, come here, come here. This sumptuous, gorgeous, made in Italy, purchased in Paris fabric. It took my heart when I saw it. I love it. I love these Dalmatian spots. I like the filigree look right here. These florals, this pop of, look at that green. Look at that citrusy chartreuse, the teals in those palm leaves. I just love this fabric. Again, this is another one where, in my opinion, because the pattern is so varied, I think I could get away with cutting it out in whatever layout would allow me to get the most out of the fabric as I'm playing pattern Tetris with this, and it wouldn't really distort anything. I also, when I was ironing, noticed or noted to myself that there is a bit of stretch. So there's two-way stretch that is a bit more than mechanical. So this is a cotton sateen fabric. So you have a little bitty, itty bitty. So I definitely want to be mindful that I'm cutting the bodice sort of this way. That cross grain, I never get the wording right, if that's cross grain or on grain, whatever the case may be. Again, I have 3 meters of this fabric and I intend to make Butterick 3908. Sewing up a vintage pattern is also one of my Make 9 goals, so I am excited to explore that. We have yet another vintage pattern, and that is this Vogue 9149. I'm trying to read that upside down, so I hope that's correct. 9149, and this is a single size pattern. Both of them are, and this is a size 12, which is a little bit smaller than me, just slightly smaller than me. So I am hopeful that it is going to still work. The feature that I love about this is this tie front situation. Let me show you the pattern lines. Very, very simple sort of in the bodice. And this is the sleeve going into that front tie. And this is the back. So it's all connected into one, which I think is just so cool. I'm assuming this is the headband that she's wearing. I don't know what else that would be. Anyway, I would love to extend this to just make it maxi length, and I would use the long sleeve that's there. All right, what am I picking for this? What am I picking for this? Some of this is happening as we speak. Of the fabrics that I have out, I think what I'm considering for now is this beautiful viscose fabric. It is a border print. Let me show you. I just had another idea. Hold on, hold the phone. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. All right, hold on, wait. So remember when I said I'm not really into plains this season? Okay, what I meant was I'm not into boring plains, but I'll show you what I would want this to be later. So if I don't make that vintage pattern, the fabrics that I have in my stash that I think would be cool to make with it are these two. These two gorgeous fabrics. Let me show you one at a time. This is a viscose jacquard fabric. Look at how scrumptious this cobalt blue looks. Do you see the jacquard weave in there? Ah, so beautiful. This is a remnant that I picked up from Joann years ago. It's literally just this, okay? I think that is maybe just a yard. I was getting really worried, but as we are sitting here, I laid this out on top of it. And if I do it just so precisely, there may be a world in which I can get the sleeve and the top yoke section of this pattern out of the jacquard fabric and then use this silky type fabric in the same color. And I love mixing fabrics in the same color. I love when you have that sort of textural moment. And then I can have the body of it here. Now, because of how lightweight this is, I would probably want to line the body of it with maybe another rayon fabric. This is a polyester fabric. It's just like almost like a pebbled sort of satin. So I'd probably want to line it, especially if this is something I see myself wearing spring, summer. I will perspire. I want something to be able to on the inside absorb that. I like that the jacquard sort of would mask it a little bit, but anytime I'm wearing a solid color in the warmer weather, that is my first thing. I'm like, I don't want to sweat in it. Anyway, I think that's what I'd be able to do. I believe I have just 2 yards of this, and because I want to extend it, I am going to have to be really mindful about how I cut this out, but I'm hopeful that I might be able to make it work. We decided that together. Thank you. Now, I have this McCall's M8064 pattern out. If you have watched the channel for a while, you'll know that this is one of my favorite knit dress patterns. So I have this mesh fabric. I have 2 cuts of it. So in total, I have 4 yards. And this is these beautiful like dandelions on this navy background. And it is super stretchy in a 2-way stretch. Nothing in this other direction. Super stretchy this way. It is sheer. I would, of course, wear something under this. But I have been going back and forth about what exactly I would want to make out of it. I have 2 mesh dresses currently, and they're all M8064, so it felt safe. However, I was thinking, because I have 4 yards of this, I could get a little extra, especially because I know the pattern now. So I thought I could make the dress in the version that I usually do, which is the long sleeve maxi length. So I just combine a few of the views to do a long sleeve maxi length crew neck option. But I can sort of make the dress, maybe make it a size or 2 bigger than myself, so that I could cut some lines through the body, like through the body of it, and then insert a ruffle of this same fabric. When I look at the wrong side of this fabric, here's the wrong side. While it is a bit lighter than the right side, it's not like a stark white. So because of that, I think if I made a flounce, if the wrong side showed, I wouldn't be so annoyed with it. And I think adding that detail of some flounces here and there really adds to like the springtime feel of it. It would make it a lot more fun and would allow me to use all 4 yards of this fabric. So this is an idea that's still percolating in my mind, but I do think that would be cool. I do plan to make another modest swimsuit set, and for that I typically use the leggings pattern from McCall's 7122. I've used this pattern before. I like it because it only has 1 seam, and that's the in seam. So there's no seam on the outside. It's super easy to cut out and kind of put together, and then the elastic is sort of built into the top of the leggings. So I really love that. I also have and have never tried M7417. So I love this sort of long sleeve version here. And I like that it gives you some color blocking options, because for some of the fabrics, I don't have a ton of it. So my initial thought is to make a pair of leggings out of this lycra spandex fabric that I have from my stash. I picked this up at G Street Fabrics a while ago. And with any of the offcuts, I hope to pair it with this black, again, I think it's like swimsuiting fabric. This is a lycra spandex from Joanne Fabrics that I picked up some years ago. And I think these 2 together would make a really nice new modest swim set. Then I have the offcuts of the initial sort of modest swimsuit set that I made a couple years ago. And I also have this polka dot brown, the same sort of lycra. I picked up both of these in the dead stock section at G Street Fabrics. And I think I could use the scraps to make something else. But because I have that color blocked option here with the McCalls, I'm hoping to make another swimsuit top. If I could get a full pair of leggings out of it, then I probably would try for a full pair of leggings first and then use whatever offcuts along with this to make a top. Heck, I would not be opposed to mixing all three of these if I could get a top out of it. So that is my idea there. So I would love to have 2 new swimwear sets. Simplicity 9756, my best friend made this set, both the top and the bottom, and she really enjoyed it. I think she made it for New Year's 2 years ago. I am looking at view B. I want to make the pants. That's why I have this black linen here. This is a remnant that I have remaining from a beautiful McCall's dress that I made a couple of years ago, and it is so gorgeous. I think I thrifted this linen fabric. It is so beautiful. The drape, the weight, everything about it is absolutely incredible. I'm on the hunt for like my favorite pair of elastic waist pants. This one does have side seam pockets. I'm gonna see how I feel about that. I think slash pockets, ones that come in a little bit, are my preference whenever I've worn. Ideally that's my preference, but I think that this could be really good. My best friend really enjoyed it, so I'm hopeful that this is gonna be a winner. Now, to pair with this, like if those black linen trousers are amazing, this is the pattern that I was thinking of for my fabric. Like how gorgeous would that be with this border print at the hemline and at the waistline? I think it would be absolutely gorgeous. And to pair with that, S8908. How it has taken me this long to sew up this pattern, I don't know. I have loved it. I can't even say from afar. It's been in my stash forever. I stinking love this thing. Look at how simple it is. The pattern pieces are so simple. It's a one-piece collar, if I'm not mistaken. The button front placket is integrated, like it's not a separate placket piece. I don't think there are buttons on this cuff. Like this is, if you want to get a pared down button front dress or blouse, I think this is going to be a winner, and I'm just kicking myself that it's taken me this long. But again, imagine that in this fabric, right? Like with this border print sort of down and along the center front. Also key pattern placement for the sleeves. Now, can I get both the trousers and this dress out of the 3 meters of fabric I have here? I don't know. I haven't checked. But what I'm saying is if I could, I would love it. I would love it so much. So I'm just saying that's where my mind went. That's where it went, and I love it. This beautiful rayon batiste fabric is from Mood Fabrics. I got it in a birthday haul of mine possibly 3 years ago, maybe. And I stinking love it. I do. Now the white background has given me pause in the past because I don't want to say it's sheer, but anytime like there's a white background on something and I'm thinking of a dress, it just makes me a little bit more hesitant. However, recently I made McCall's 8150, and there is this 4-tiered maxi length version that I think would be exceptional for spring summer, and I could see myself making it out of this fabric. I have 4 yards of this fabric, and I think that that would be epic. That would be a wonderful use of it. Because of the nature of this and how bold and saturated the colors are, I think if I use this fabric as the yoke for some of the white areas, you might be able to see through it. And also, is that the best use of this gorgeous fabric, you know? So I'm thinking I do have some viscoses in my stash, even a viscose twill, a white viscose twill, that I could use as the yoke pieces and just use this fabric for the flounce on the outside. And that could save me not only fabric and then allow me to make like a quick top if I have enough fabric left over. So that is an option. All right, I almost forgot about this lovely one. How could I do that? So I have already sewn up a pair of elasticated trousers in this print. I cut that out like 2 years ago, so as I was making my way through some projects recently, I just whipped it up. Now, the remaining fabric is here. This I also starched, so it has some great body right now, which would make it so much easier to cut out. And I'm thinking of doing S8908 out of this fabric to pair with the trousers I've already made as like a nice, easy breezy resort wear inspired set to wear, possibly in Vegas. You know, check me out. And also so that I can test out the pattern. Again, I've never made it. I doubt that it's going to be challenging, but to see fit, you know, it might be nice to like test it out. Then we have Simplicity 9652, and I'm thinking about making maybe the top like view A and view D for my youngest son, who's going to be turning 1. At the time I'm recording this, he's going to be turning 1 this weekend. But I have this gorgeous cobalt blue broderie anglaise fabric in my stash. I've picked up a number of broderie anglaise in this same colorway, but different patterns. All of them have been from the dead stock section at G Street Fabrics or their remnants. So I am excited to get them sewn up this year. This is actually the fabric that I'm using for my Make 9 to make my family's matching ensemble. So I'm thinking with his upcoming birthday, even if I don't get it made for his birthday, because he doesn't have to wear it on that day, but to get it made up soon so that I can take his item off and then continue working on everyone else's throughout the spring. That's my hope. Now, you know when you have way too many plans, so then you just keep adding plans because, you know, you're just like, well, now that I know there's no way I'm going to get to all of these, I might as well just pull out all the fabric that I'm excited about, right? Because, I mean, there's no pressure. That's how this came into play. That's how this came into play. This fabric I got at Mood Fabrics Online. It might be 4 years ago now. This was my very first ever, I think, Mood Fabric haul on this channel. Well, my very first ever Mood Fabric haul. The first time I did it, I happened to have put it on this channel. Anyway, it was another birthday haul of mine. That's when I treat myself, okay? And I mean, the colors, sherbet. Is this not spring in a fabric? Friends, come on. Now, are they my colors? I don't know. I sincerely don't care. I have not known what to do with this fabric, which is why it's been in my stash for 4 years. It is the softest rayon jacquard fabric. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get the jacquard weave to show, but you got to trust me, y'all. It's got a jacquard weave to it. Do you see it there? Do you see it? See it in the green? Do you see it? So it's a beautiful rayon jacquard fabric in these stripes, and I absolutely love it. I only have 3 yards of it, and 3 yards for me once upon a time was enough to conquer the world, really. I was like, I could make anything out of 3 yards of fabric, but there are some limitations. There are some limitations. I'm finding that now my preferred length of fabric might be 3.5 or 4 yards. If I were to fold the fabric over and it can reach from my shoulders all the way down to the floor, that's about 3.5 yards. And 4 yards would give me just a bit extra to do a really nice thick hem. And I think that's my preference moving forward, because there are times where I'm like, oh, I could do something super simple that just sort of drapes, but then it's cutting me off at the bottom and it's more midi length. I have an idea. There is a dress that I have pinned and pinned again on Pinterest so many times. All they want to do is sell it to me. That's all they want. They're not trying to give me inspiration. It is nothing sewing inspired. It is purely commerce. They want me to buy it. And I refuse. I refuse to do it. However, I keep watching the video as the woman is wearing it to get an idea, because it seems so simple. It seems so simple. And I was like, Fatma, if you could figure this out, you could have yourself a beautiful floaty dress. So that's why I have it out. Whoa! Okay. Are you inspired? Are you inspired? Because, wow, I sure am. All right, I hope you are inspired. It was really lovely to share this with you. It was an absolute mess also, as it is anytime I try and record something that has a lot of options and lots of thoughts. You end up like this, with just things strewn about. So while you like, comment, and subscribe down below, I will spend some time cleaning up this mess that I have created. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope it was an enjoyable and fun video to watch, and I hope that you do subscribe so that as I'm making these pieces throughout the spring and summer, you are here to witness all of it and cheer me on, and I can hear what delightful things you're making and how your sewing journey is going as well. Have a wonderful day. Stay creative, folks. Bye-bye.